did, but it also opened a can of worms with me personally, because I look at myself when, when I'm introspective about it, I'm like, so I've been for decades now, I've been like the beat cop, right? Like I pull up in the metaphorical cop car, right? And I park in my office, and then everybody knows there's the cops in the building, right? So they're all kind of they're not doing anything too crazy. And I'm like, damn, I just can't shake that. Get here at 7, stay no matter what till 5. I mean, I just haven't been able to shake it. And some people have told me that's another blind spot that I've got, and that is that I just, feel like I have to be here. And I don't know, I don't mind.
So let me ask you another blind spot that it sounds to me, and I could be completely off the mark.
All right.
Where are you finding yourself in the next 5 years? Are you thinking about that right now? That you are wondering, what's my spot and what am I going to be doing?
Yeah, I have. In fact, for what it's worth, I never would have predicted this a decade ago. 5 years ago, I would have said, yeah, I think maybe. And now it's not just that, it's actually happening. So there's a ton of private equity poking around in the personal injury space, much like they did with dentists and doctors and veterinarians. And look, not all firms are going to be rolled up. There's significant private equity money sniffing around, and I'm probably going to run a process and engage with an investment bank, and kind of get an idea of what it might look like. I mean, a liquidity event for a service business is really rare. I mean, most law firms you can merge, and maybe that makes you bigger, and maybe on the margins, and then the superstars, they always make plenty of money. But the regular run-of-the-mill lawyers this is not like way high compensation work. The median lawyer salary in America is like $130. That means half or less. And so, a liquidity event would be really cool. That'll take a couple of years. And then,
are you thinking of engaging with private equity?
Yeah.
We've had an M&A series of M&A with you.
We've had discussions with a number of different acquirers, I guess, investors, and they're like real private equity groups, like names you've heard of. Yeah. That have done massive deals, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Because you've got an operating system that's working well. So if you acquire others, you're going to bring them into a system.
Yeah, we have a platform, and I think that that makes us a little bit sexy, because the processes are transferable. I mean, and frankly, plenty of great personal injury firms out there, not just in Texas, but all over the country. But the idea would be, we merge and acquire with a sponsor, somebody, private equity group with enough money, and then we all share some best practices, and then maybe there's an exit if the private equity group knows what they're doing.
Exit is great, money is great, but here's the thing: that's your next chapter. Sounds like to me, you want to do something bigger, something that stretches you, something that challenges you. You do not want to be retiring at 60.
Yeah,
you don't look like that kind of person.
Nah, I'm not going to do that yet. But our COO and I, that's if we could write the next 5 years, that's how we would script it. But I'm not any good at really telling the future. So, time will tell, but we're moving in that direction, and things look pretty good right now.
Have you acquired any firms yet at all?
No, we have not. We have stayed in Texas, for lots of reasons. One, it's a big state. I mean, acquiring a firm in Illinois would be like acquiring a firm in North Texas. Like, there's 8.5 million, 9 million people in the entire state of Illinois, right? Most of them near Chicago. Like, there's 8.3 million people in North Texas. There's 8.1 million people in Houston. There's about almost 6 million people in San Antonio, Austin. Yeah. My goodness. In the Texas Triangle, we're like 23 million, man. That might as well be 4 states, right? So we feel like there's a little bit of room still here in Texas. But if the opportunity presented, and we had a financial sponsor, we would definitely consider some other markets. Because let me tell you, Texas is not a good place to get hurt. It's very challenging. Oh my goodness. Not that any state's good to be hurt in. So let me rephrase that. Getting hurt in Texas, it's really hard to get fair value for our clients. Whereas in other states, because of either the court systems or the profile of the people that are in those states, specifically like Illinois, even Georgia, California, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, states like that. Yeah, it's not easier. You can get fair value because preventative. Look, Texas is a place where it's like you're on your own, man. Come on, what's wrong with you? It's a tough state, man, and we're constantly trying to overcome a lot of that cowboy stuff. So not all of our clients can just kind of, oh yeah, let me shake it off. They're not all rodeo. They're not all bull riders. That's for damn sure. And so it would be kind of neat to see if we could go to another state, but we're not going to put that in front of being really, really good right here, where we have so many decades of experience and so many results. We've successfully resolved 70,000 plus cases.
Yeah. I noted that. One last question for you, and I suspect that I probably know the answer, but
that's fine.
Has your ego been a liability ever that you experienced?
Oh, interesting that you mentioned that. I've had the good fortune, or the misfortune, I don't know, however you want to look at it, for the last 25 years. I speak often at continuing legal, which is like legal seminars, right? Where you get your credits. Every state requires you to go to do some kind of education, a number of hours every year, and you get your credits. And I'm speaking a handful a year. Last year I did 10. I've already done 4 this year. I'm going to probably back it off a little bit until summer, but I'll do a few more. And oftentimes, some of the stories about like, okay, what are we doing? We've decided that our brand. I used to do a lot of television advertising, and there are people that still do it in other markets, and they're always asking me like, "Man, you don't do it anymore." I'm like, "No, we're only doing digital." And they're like, "Well, what happened to your brand?" I'm like, "Well, we have a digital brand. We think that our clients, we think this is where they're at."
Yeah.
And so we decided to stop spending money on billboards and bus boards and channel, Fox TV and all that bullshit. And we stopped in 2018. And one of the biggest, so if my ego was as big as the other people who refuse to quit, even though they're constantly asking me like, how are you doing? How are you doing? I would still be on TV because there's a lot of ego involved with branding, and especially with personal injury lawyers. I've always sublimated my ego to the better good of the firm. And that meant even, like knocking off the television advertising. I mean, Nick, there were times in the 2000s, 2015, I could walk into a restaurant, everybody know I was like the weatherman, right? And so, no, I mean, my ego was, I believe you've got to be able to set your ego aside, or you'll make some decisions you're probably going to regret. And so that's a long answer to a question that is, I don't recall a time where my ego has impacted negatively the business.